I'll call the meeting to order. We need to approve the agenda as printed.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the agenda as printed. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That is carried. Public comment on agenda items. Seeing none, hearing none of those. Communication shared by solid waste board members. Silence. Approval of minutes of February 15th, open session.
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. Wow. Discussion action on the 2022 budget amendments.
Yeah, I guess, we've been working with finance to kind of close out our 2022 books. And things are still changing a little bit, and we were looking good, a few weeks ago. Not having to do any budget amendments, but, with some recent changes to some, expense accounts. It put us over our, target, number of 1%. So in total other operating expenses, which is a sum of many different Okay. So what finance does is they look at the total fund, not individual cost centers, or total solid waste fund, and then they look at different categories. And if you exceed on the expense side by more than 1%, then you have to do a budget amendment. And so this total other operating expenses, which was budgeted at 10,394,521, was ended up being 1.16% over. So we have to make a correction on just on the budget side of things, on a revenue account and a expense account. So I guess what we were advised to do by the finance department is increase the budgeted amount for landfill fees, which was well over our estimate by $1 million, because we ended up with way more tonnage than what we had anticipated, which I guess is a good thing. So what we're proposing to do is increase the budget amount by $130,000 for that landfill fees, and then also increase on the expense side of things, what we call regional fees, which are what we pay for each ton of waste disposed at either Outagamie or Brown County. So we'll increase that expense item by the same $130,000. And that will satisfy the finance department as far as the budget amendment goes. So with the board's approval of this budget amendment as proposed, then Cassie will fill out the paperwork, I'll sign it, send it down to finance with the board's approval.
You need that form of a motion?
Yes.
Okay, second.
Motion's been made and seconded. That amount was what,
130,000. Adding it to the landfill fees budget and adding it to the regional fee budget.
Okay.
Is it-
Go ahead.
Is it doable?
Yes, yeah, just a house.
Feel good about it.
Yeah, more of a housekeeping thing.
Is that, I mean, are they gonna want that every year? I assume that it appears that way.
Yeah, I think some of the things in the past were done more on an individual cost center, which according to finance is not necessary. So, so I think every year we'll be looking at this, total fund, and then if we have something that is more than 1% over on the expense side, then we'll come to the board with a budget amendment. So, and we didn't have them last year because we didn't have any we didn't have any overages on the expense side.
Okay. Everybody in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that is carried.
Okay, thank you.
Hazardous waste and conversion program.
Yeah, one of the things we didn't catch last time, we talked tonnages and hauling costs, so we put it on this agenda to have Kathy run through our HHW facility, numbers, our diversion program numbers, and, so she has a summary for you. Now, so.
Okay, so this is for 2022, household hazardous materials and diversion programs. Our household hazardous material summary starts with, services. Are offered to our Winnebago County residents at no charge to encourage the proper disposal of materials that have potential to harm human health or the environment or cause issues in the transfer station on the waste side. We did hold 2 clean sweep collections at satellite locations, one in the village of Winnebago County, one in Fox Crossing. And we also had the permanent household hazardous material facility in the back of the transfer station, which was open on select Wednesdays and Saturdays, May through October. We contracted with Veolia Environmental Services to provide staffing, transportation, and disposal of the materials collected at the clean sweep events and at our hazardous waste facility. Our partnership also continued with Brown County Hazardous Material Recovery for any off-season request to dispose of material. We cover the cost, the residents just have to drive it up to Brown County and report it as coming from Winnebago County. So in 2022, we had 22 days of operation at the household hazardous materials facility versus 24 days in 2021. For the clean sweep collection, we had the 2 events and in 2022 and 0 in 2021. That program had been discontinued during the years when COVID was a concern, but we did bring it back in 2022. Participant count was 1,032 users of our collections. And that was 2022. 2021, we had 813, so we did see an increase in users. The household hazardous material that was collected is 43,997 pounds. Versus 45,999 pounds in the previous year. We also accepted ag material at our household hazardous material collection and at clean sweep. It can be problematic depending on the quantities and types of material brought in. So the ag material is something we kind of monitor more closely, but I do work with Veolia Environmental Services to make sure they notify me of that and it's packaged and shipped out properly. So in 2022, we were able to take in 2,907 pounds of ag waste. 2021, we did not collect any ag. Product exchange, of course, is the side room that anything that's in good condition can go back out onto the shelf. The public can come in during our regular operating hours of that facility. They can come up and pick up product exchange. It not only puts good material back out on the street for use, but it also allows us to save some money in disposal costs. So 2022, we had 3,069 pounds returned for public use. And in 2021, we had 2,142 pounds. Any questions on hazardous materials before I move on? Okay. Universal waste 2022. Proper disposal recycling options for the following materials were offered through our services. These are materials that are either banned from landfill disposal or allowed to be handled through a properly managed non-hazardous material collection. We refer to them as universal waste collection. By offering these services to our residential customers, we also help our signing municipalities stay compliant with DNR administrative code and the state statutes. For materials, electronics was a big program. 2022, we brought in 244 pounds. Those big numbers are hard to read off. 2021, we brought in 364 pounds, and recycled those through dynamic life cycle innovations in Alaska.
Two TVs starting to slow down.
Yes, and that's part of why we see lighter weights.
Tube TV.
Yeah, we're still seeing some, but, the DNR had projected this out, that the heavy TVs would continue through the system for several years. And eventually they'd be all, collected out of people's basements and garages and wherever they're storing these things. So we are seeing, lighter pounds. Primarily devices are getting smaller, TV screens are getting lighter. And the big CRT, the big heavy glass tube screens, aren't coming through the program as much as they were in the past. So it's a good thing. It's less for us to handle and less for us to ship. Good for the bottom line too, for the dollar.
Has there been any thought about, I know that you charge for bringing in TVs. Has there been any thought to giving municipalities a discount on bringing them in? Example, I have a complaint from the town of Winchester. The town chairman has gone around and collected TVs out of the road ditch. Because it's cheaper than having the county come in and pick them up. And he asked me if the landfill would give a municipality a discount rather than having the town pay for each individual TV. If that's a possibility.
I certainly would have a thought on that with that kind of effort that an individual wants to put that up, he should be able to bring that in for nothing. I mean, why not? I mean, I know it's coming from the residents out there, obviously, and that,
Yeah.
but I'm sure it's about this much.
Yeah.
On the grant.
He currently has 8 TVs in his garage that he's collected out of the road ditch.
Well, he could call the pickers.
Our rates are very competitive versus our neighboring counties and the private sector. We do have costs of running the program as well.
I understand.
To pay a vendor to provide the service to us. We could certainly take a look at it.
Where does it stop?
That's a big point.
There's the sergeant, the dump, if you say what you sound like. Let's sit further.
So Kathy, what again are we paying? What's our charge to dispose of these through the dynamic lifestyles?
I could give you the rate that they offer us right now, about 8.5 cents a pound. That does not
8.5 cents a pound for them to come and haul it.
correct.
Okay. So translate the number for me. That's tonnage or
That's pounds,
that's pounds? Okay.
correct,
That's okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So there is a markup, of course,
Yeah.
slight markup. The rate that I have now is much more competitive than it was a year ago.
Okay.
The market is changing, so, if we lower our rates in general, then we have backflow material into our program from surrounding counties. Right now, I have the cheapest rate out there, and if I mark it down anymore, now suddenly we're inundated. They're also manually loaded onto pallets and manually loaded into balers, and we have to do that, our staff have to do that, so from a labor standpoint, it's a very intensive labor. So those are things that, in managing the program and the cost of the program and what we offer for services, those are all brought into the picture.
Me, it would be just, that's like a feel good thing. You have an individual that wants to do that. Out of his goodness of his heart, wants to keep his community clean and whatever, it's like, we don't reward people for doing that at all. And whatever, but yet we give awards for recycling to certain communities and all that kind of good stuff and whatever. Now this would be part of an award stuff, that this individual does that stuff, and I'm probably preaching to the wrong choir here, but I mean, it's like, it's so minuscule, and I hear Jim, because he says, well, then where do you stop, and where you stop wherever you wanna stop.
Well, I have
It's a
had
big deal.
communities reach out to me with
Yeah.
like a lot of smash TVs where I gave them a flat rate. Without trying to figure out how many smash TVs they
Well,
had
maybe
in a
that's not
box.
bad, maybe a flat rate of some sort, or.
So it's something that I could look at, but. Again. It's a judgment call, case by case situation, and I have to be made aware of it first. So he can certainly give me a call and I can see what I can do for him.
At least, yeah, I think that you
Again.
should reach out to the person and.
Well, what would he have to pay if he has ATVs in his garage? What would he, if he brought them here in a big pickup or something, what would he pay to drop them off?
It would be $15 to $20 per TV.
Okay, so we're talking down.
But if they were all smash TVs and I could look at them and they feel, if they were mostly glass, that would be.
Yeah.
A higher charge than if it
Yeah.
were smashed computer monitors,
Well, I'm not sure what would he have to show his municipal town card or something? I'm not sure how we, that's a little,
He will let you know that he's.
Yeah.
Here, and then,
okay, I guess I don't want to get too, too loosey-goosey with this either, where it's just kind of, we gotta have a process, I think that makes sense. I mean, what if it's what the town can't afford, $200?
Well,
I mean, I guess that's,
yeah.
I get the, I get the whole idea of people, I mean, that's kind of the new thing, is if you can get people to haul their stuff to the drop-off sites and whatever, you're saving labor, because people are doing it themselves, so I think there's a value in that.
We've also had nonprofits ask for free disposal as well with past
Yeah.
years, and I denied that as well,
Yeah.
because where do where do you shut that off?
I would have been on the other side of the fence on that issue.
Well.
Well, you're the chairman of the board here.
If you'd like to-
Okay, so can you work out something, or at least,
I'll look into
Well,
potentially what we can do.
let's set up another, let's,
And then
next,
discuss and
next
approve.
meeting, why don't you put it on the agenda? We'll have a general discussion about, this type of waste and what is the proper place for the solid waste board to be in this, because I agree, it's a delicate balance of.
Yeah,
wanting
the
to
next,
go
the next question is gonna come up on the tire side of things.
Yeah.
Well,
The same sort of thing is gonna come up.
and then Winnie County always has a spring cleanup where they have. Bring in dumpsters and you can get rid of your stuff now. I believe they pay whatever the going rate is, so. We're,
Tires are extremely expensive, and if that were a program that we offered for free, we have lessons we can learn from Allegheny County, who's had to raise their prices significantly. For many of their programs because of what comes in on the free tire day. So, certainly, those things need to be kept in mind as we make these decisions. May I move on to
Yep.
appliances? Okay, thank you. Appliances are, general white goods like washers and dryers and free on appliances like your microwave, or I'm sorry, your, refrigerators and freezers. 2022, we had 149 tons of appliances recycled, and in 2021, we had 127 tons of appliances. Those were hauled out by B&B Metals out of Plymouth. It's a recycling scrapyard, and we piggyback on an Allegheny County contract for that recycling. Tires, we had 117 tons of tires in 2022, and outbound for 2021 was 110 tons. Those are recycled at Liberty Tire in Auburndale, Wisconsin.
just tired of the cycle.
The only in the state, pretty much. And then lamps are your light bulbs. We had 5,786 light bulbs recycled in 2022 and 5,971 in 2021. Again, those are outbound units, and we work with Logistic Recycling Incorporated, also known as Land Recyclers, out of the Pier, Wisconsin, for that service. Any questions?
How do they recycle all they do? They just bust it, and grind up the glass? Or-
Yeah, there's a chute, basically, they have to send it through a thing that they grinds it down and then they recover the different. They probably ship that to another recycler and then they take the glass, the metal and all the other components of as many components as they can.
Mercury.
Yeah, yeah. Any other questions on the universal waste before I move on to yard waste? Okay. 2022 yard waste, to wrap this up, we grind yard waste, grass, leaves, brush. Through our facility, it is used by UW Oshkosh as feedstock in their dry fermentation anaerobic biodigester located on campus. They rely very heavily on our material through the winter when the rest of their inbound material is kind of slacked off. So in 2022, we shipped out 1,752 tons of yard waste, and in 2022, it was 1,624 tons. We do maintain that stockpile over the winter for them, and we pay a tipping fee on it, but they cover the trucking on hauling that out. So it's a good partnership, that material. Any questions?
Yeah, it's been working really
Very
well.
well.
That's good.
Any other questions on yard waste or?
Okay.
It's just a bit in there.
It's for in our budget, 1,300.
This 12,000?
Oh, 12, okay, that's right, now it shocked me again.
Hi, we're ready. Thanks. Yep.
So Jessica communicated to this person to come in. She was heavily involved with this project, so.
Your favorite
Yeah.
subject.
There,
Yeah.
yep, that's better.
Sounds good, you matched the.
Neon. See the slideshow? Jerry, can you see the slideshow?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Great, so we just wanted to give you a little bit of introduction of where I will be hanging out this Friday. We got invited to be part of the sponsorship event. Go Green at the Wisconsin Herd was kind of organized by the executive's office, and we were invited to be the sponsor and kind of represent at the event is the word I'm looking for. So that'll happen this Friday. The game time is at 7. We'll be there around 5:30 to set up, and then gates open at 6. So we'll be kind of there ahead of time, but just wanted to walk through kind of what that opportunity for education and outreach and kind of getting our name at the sports game this Friday will look like. Okay. So one of the things that comes with the game is having the theme sponsor jerseys. So they will have these jerseys with our logo here on the front and center. I think is cool. Albeit we get to see it here, I guess. And then on the bottom, there's also a nonprofit that will be kind of partnering with us for the night as well. And so they have the Winnebago Waterways logo on the back of the jersey. This pattern is the same pattern as blown up in that image there. So kind of an earthy leaves and deer goes with the team, obviously, but then that's kind of an imprint on the actual color of the jersey as well. And so these will be auctioned at the end of the game, and all of the proceeds for that will go directly to the Winnebago Waterways program. So I'm not sure how many players are typically on the team, but plenty of opportunities to pick your favorite and try and win that jersey at the auction if you so desire. I think it's kind of a cool thing to do for that. So that's one thing that we have as part of the event. And then we also submitted some cool catchphrases about recycling lingo and messages to have the players create a promotional video. And so this is a really cool video that they put together with recording the actual players, saying some of our messaging, and this will be played a couple times pregame and then at halftime as well for the whole audience to see the promotion. So we wanted to share that video with you also. Let me share it. You click on the picture, it won't open anything. This is the information.
Is there a different place I can access the video?
If you have your email, I can forward you to you, Frank, if that works. Okay, yep.
Technology.
Yeah, we can come back to this too if you wanna go to the next slide then, Cassie, as well.
Not bad. I know.
Okay, so then, additionally, at the event, it is Winnebago County sponsored. So the Winnebago County employees will have a party deck while we were at the event. And with 80 party tickets, I know one of our employees, I believe, is going, and any other county employees can also go. And so that party deck is kind of just a fun area where all of the county employees can kind of bond and gather and things like that. Let's see. Okay. And then that includes hot dogs until they run out, just an open, I guess, I don't know if they'll have like a crock pot or whatever, but hot dogs available till they run out at that party deck, and then everyone gets one drink ticket with that as well. So I'll be hanging out there in between while we're waiting for halftime, but that'll be something fun that the employees also get to take advantage of. Edie, our scale associate, solid waste associate, will be joining me to help with the tabling before the event. And so we will have a booth on one side of the stadium, and then Winnebago Waterways and the Fox Wolf Watershed Alliance will also have a table on the other side. So both of us will get to be represented and have some information there. At our booth, we'll just get to kind of do the generic handing out our resources. We've got our printed guides for this year. We've got, we'll have tri-county resources, our stickers and magnets that you guys are familiar with. And then it is our clean sweep coming up in April. So I'll have all information for people at that event as well. And then we are launching a new Recycle Right Masterclass at the end of March. So I'll have some information about that as well, just to have that opportunity to have additional touch points with anyone coming by, of course, making sure they're local to the area. I don't know who's going to be drawn to this game, but just making sure that we have all the different assets of obviously a recycling focus, but then some of our additional offerings in case anyone's curious to get some of that information while we have a spot at that event.
So, just a question, the 80 party deck tickets, are those thrown in because we're the sponsor?
The county executive, as far as I'm aware, had a couple different employee nights specifically, so they had one, I think there was one other theme night, and so as Winnebago County, it comes more with the like Winnebago County employee night, I think, than this, but we were included in that, having been the sponsor for the event, if I understood that correctly.
Jessica, what's it cost us to sponsor?
Is that something that
It's $12,000. It's part of our recycling budget that we had to add into the budget, $12,000 for this year. And it is not a cost I'm passing on to our municipalities. We're going to cover that under our revenues on the recycling side. So it did increase our budget significantly to add this cost to it. I think last year our budget was $8,000 for all of our programs for advertising and marketing. So we added the 12,000 to that, so it's 20,000 for the entire department.
Mm-hmm.
So this, I think this is a really good opportunity. Definitely the hopefully a good bang for our buck with that, that they get, everyone in the audience will get to hear this message at least once, if not twice.
All right, ready?
Yep.
Don't be a drag, dump out your bag. Plastic bags don't belong in your recycling carts. Get them out of there. No, no, no. Be a clean and green recycling machine. Like me. Block food and drinks from your recycle cart. Get it out of here. Come on now. Scan it and can it. Look for the Better Bin app and make recycling count. Cardboard, paper, bottles and cans are all part of my recycling jam. Recycle.
Did you write that?
It was a collaborative effort.
It was.
with some of those slogans. I learned a lot. I was like, oh, that's really fun. So they did a good job with it.
Number 29, I think is the first guy they show, that's, Giannis's younger brother. So who is on her squad, so.
What is normally the attendant, or what is the expected, I don't know what attendance they get, how many people show for these?
I'm not sure either.
For Friday night, maybe 3,000.
Okay. Is this one televised, I wonder, because they have on TV?
Typically they are.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly this one will be, but the one, I have seen them televised. Yeah, the attendance has changed apparently. I know when we first advertised with the herd a couple of years ago, it wasn't a highly attended game overall or event. But per the executive, it's growing, and for, of course, their sales team at the herd, it's growing. So unfortunately, I don't have those numbers. I didn't receive those as part of our side of the packet, but I'm sure that's something that the executive's office considered as they bought the package for the county.
Would be an interesting road trip for you and the wife.
Oh, sure. Well, 8 miles, is that? Thanks, Pat.
I just wanted to thank you, Jessica, and for the staff. I know that this was, not something that you guys initiated, and I realized the maybe added work responsibility and all of that, so I appreciate your involvement and the work that you took on this.
Yeah, it's a new opportunity to kind of get out on a sports game, so we'll see how it goes, and I don't know, it'll be learning one way or the other, so we're excited to do it.
Next Lambeau Field.
Yay! Well, yes. That'd be a big impact. Any other questions?
Thank you, good job.
Well, maybe I'll see some of you on Friday if you want to swing by, but.
There's a large event going on that day also.
That.
You know what that is?
Oh, yes. I think very strategically, we go bring on this. I forgot about that, so, yeah. But, all right, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Jessica.
Thanks so much.
Good job.
Thanks.
Ready down to the big report.
The big report. Oh, no. So we're moving on to number 8 here, okay. As far as operations go, status quo in the transfer station, the only new bit of information is the road weight limits went into effect. So as of Monday, we're hauling lighter loads of waste and recycling. But thus far, knock on wood, we're
Good.
yeah, we'll be down some operators next week with vacations and whatnot, and our newest equipment operator is gonna be starting his CDL training, so he's not gonna be around for the majority of the week, so it'll be all hands on deck for the supervisor and one other equipment operator, so. As far as landfill gas revenues, You pull up the spreadsheet. Good. Yeah, landfill gas revenues again for February. Um, Okay. So this is just WPS revenues with the new power purchase agreement. Again, the rates for February were the same as January. So from engine engine 2R and 3, we had $41,378. From engine 4, we had $22,956. We're still working on trying to figure out our game plan for the renewable attributes, so we don't have anything there. Highway is no longer using our landfill gas. We've locked out, tagged out those valves. So the total for the month was $64,334, a little less than January, but still exceeding our expectations. So we're at 136,607, averaging about 68,000 a month. Our budgeted amount was about 33,000 a month, so we're doing a good job with what we have in front of us. Just by comparison, last year, year to date, we're at 236,000. So that's with the old power purchase agreement and having engine 5 available until it had its failure in March. So.
And are you doing that much better, or is that because we budgeted based on a lower power purchase and they're giving us a little bit more?
It's both.
Okay.
I think the work that we did on the engines at the end of last year in the fourth quarter to get them ready to run more smoothly has benefited us for the first 2 months. The repair that we made on the east side of the hill, we found some air intrusion problems that we sealed up. That has definitely helped things run a little more stabilized. So, I mean, right now with the colder weather, we can't run 3 engines anymore, and we have a hard time running 2 of the bigger engines. But we're able to run 1 big engine and 1 small engine at about 500 CF down, and it stays really stable. So we're having less issues with engines shutting down. The methane is staying about 52%, less than 0.5% oxygen with those 1 small engine, 1 big engine. So we'll just have to play it by ear and see how it goes as temperatures warm up. Maybe, the landfill will come to life a little bit more, and we will be able to run the 2 big engines during the day and then shut them off overnight. But yeah, so I think we're off to a good start through the first 2 months. So I was happy with how things have been going so far. Yeah, both. I don't really have much of an update. We had a meeting on site where we had our landfill gas maintenance technician and our landfill gas well tuner involved, where we went through some of the design criteria of the upgrades to the flare, or I should say, downsizing the flare, downsizing the compressors, revamping that equipment to better fit our current gas flows and in the future. So we were on site, we met, looked at drawings, discussed some things, and we spent time both at the Sunnyview pub where that equipment would be swapped out, and then looking at some of the Snell Road site where we've had a upgraded flare system in since 2012. So they're working on putting together the final design memo for that, and then we'll have individual RFPs that they'll put together, we'll put out on the street, and have some information on equipment quotes in the future that we'll bring to the board for review and discussion, and see how it fits in on our budget. So that's pretty much all I had for my big director's report. So
John, I have a question. Anything new on the AI robotics?
the the grant application was submitted. We just got a copy of that grant, as it was submitted, but I haven't heard any updates on the review process. I know Kathy was lucky enough to, sit next to,
A representative from EPA Region 5, who will be one of the people reviewing the grant. And so I had next.
so at the
This-
state conference,
Yeah,
yeah.
so had luncheon right next to this individual and shared some things about our program. That maybe she'll keep in mind. I don't know, no promises of course, but it was a nice.
Oh,
Any rumbles about, Ken Roble?
Yeah, I did have a meeting with the Parks Director last week, and we'll have something to talk to, the chairman of the Solid Waste Committee, or Solid Waste Board, and Parks Committee, and I guess hopefully come to some resolution moving forward, so we can move on with things, so.
I did have one personal conversation with one of the employees at Parks, who said, I don't know what the big deal is. Parks has 5 full-time employees. We're the only department that isn't short-staffed. To go and mow that little damn park is hardly worth anybody arguing about. Now that came from one of the employees. Now that, you've not put that in minutes maybe, or. You want the guy in charge or talk to the person that knows what's going on? So that, I found that conversation was interesting.
So we'll hopefully have something for you to approve at a future.
the grass isn't growing yet.
It's not growing yet.
So that's not a big deal. So.
Okay.
This is really different now. The speed at which we maneuvered through this whole
Right.
agenda. So, it's got great. Go ahead.
So as far as like, agenda items or anything like that, I was curious. Is the wage study something that we should put on next time's agenda or whatever? Because we're still in the process of deciding that. I guess I was just curious if I could get feedback from solid waste on what you know about wage study. So I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just curious on the process of that, so.
I don't know if John as the director has the authority to talk about that issue, because that's coming from that's the budget side of it and whatever. So I think if you wanted to, as a supervisor, if you wanted to get feedback from employees or
I can get it
you can
directly.
get what you want, whatever. So I don't know. There's always some difficulty with that interaction.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, okay.
And
I believe there is a meeting scheduled with the employees, if they're not, I mean.
Several, yeah.
Yeah, so. Have you guys been at one of the meetings already or whatever?
There's
So-
been representatives at the town hall meetings that were held last week.
Okay, yeah,
But there hasn't been a meeting, a follow-up meeting directly with solid waste.
okay.
Yeah. So.
Right, I'm glad I'm not on the county board.
All those years you rejected my, bonus.
It might be coming around. Trouble is that causes all kinds of
Oh, yeah,
issues with everybody else on the program. With that, I'm coming around. So if there's any further for future items to go on agendas, whatever, call John or whatever. Just our.
I'll let the chairman know and the chairman can talk to me.
Yeah. Yeah, better.
I had, we talking future agenda item.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had somebody approach me, and of course, it's ironic, on the way here, all the deer were sitting on the hill looking at me as I drove by. Is there such a thing as a youth archery hunt or a disabled hunt. Those are so popular, if you will. I mean, I gotta believe there's a way we could put a dang tent out there and let some guy in a wheelchair harvest one of those deer and control that number just a bit. I just throwing it out there, I think between mentors and handicapped or mentors and youth would be, I always thought maybe it should just be solid waste board members, but no, I think the youth and the disabled would, certainly there might be some possibilities that we could at least discuss.
Yeah.
Somewhere down
Like
the road.
10 TVs.
I'll trade your chair for.
Is there some, a department or somebody had that kind of activity up? You know, I see it, I see it advertised.
Decisions that were involved around disability. You got a disability, commission,
And,
aging and disability commission.
I'm also on the Conservation Congress, and that would be a good, hand to work with. I mean, they put together a fair amount of those learn to hunt stuff and that sort of thing. It could even be a little pilot program. We get some press out of it and get rid of a couple of them, or at least keep the herd in check a little bit. Just a thought.
I remember John talking about it once. He got it, I think City of Oshkosh.
Yeah, the
DNR.
city of Oshkosh, every couple of years, comes out and talks to us about maybe better controlling the deer herd, both at this site and our Snell Road site. And it was kind of interesting. There was a helicopter flying around the site yesterday, which, in the past has been doing deer counts.
For who? The DNR?
I'm not sure if it's for the city or if it's DNR wise.
They got a helicopter, don't they have drones or something to do
I don't know.
something?
They fly like really low right
Yeah.
over the hill and
Count
circle the
deer on
hill,
on
and then they go to the other hill.
Yeah.
And I think the city, at least at one time, they hired some professionals to come in. I would be so opposed to that when the potential is there for handicapped or youth in my opinion.
Yeah, and that has been their approach in the past is, hiring basically someone to come in.
Yeah, sharpshooters
Yeah.
and pay them a lot of money and.
Yeah.
Well, I think if there was a lot of damage being done by those deer, a lot of crop damage and whatever and stuff, there probably would be an opportunity for those people to do their job and whatever, but that intrigues me, that other whatever.
We've got a couple groups or clubs they'll certainly reach out to and say it isn't out of the realm of discussion anyways.
Yeah, they'd have to manage that whole program themselves.
Yep,
I'm sure.
yep.
We don't have people to manage that kind of
Get
stuff.
some prayer to come.
I think if you opened it up to employees of the solid waste department, you'd have a pretty good line.
Well, if that comes up at some point in time again and whatever, then we'll just put that.
Sure.
We could have the drawing for the tags at the go herd thing. Right? Oh, I can turn them off. There you go.
Oh, we could have it at Critters.
There you go. Any of those work.
Okay, when's the next meeting date?
April 5th.
And we are planning a meeting that day?
At this point, yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion's been made. And seconded. All in favor of that motion to adjourn, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That is carried.
When is Jerry Conrad coming back to the frozen tundra here?
The 1st of May.
All right.
By then, the